I've done a little bit of homework this week.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wait, was this homework prescribed?
Prescribed homework by yours
Oh,
truly.
yeah.
Wait,
Here
is
we
yours
go.
truly me or you? I meant
That's you.
Me. Okay. You then. I was thinking of a
By
fancy
me,
way of
truly.
saying that. By you truly. It
Yeah.
was The Man from Earth.
Oh, you watched
asked me to watch a movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a couple of questions for you just off the bat.
Whoa, let's not ask questions. How about you with
No, these are
do a
questions about you.
spoiler-free, do a spoiler-free.
Yes.
Just give us the rundown of what you thought the movie was. Spoiler-free. Let's start with that.
Spoiler free. Well, this is not a spoiler. Now, you said to me
Yes.
that you were dragged to watch this kicking and screaming or something like that.
No. I was subjected to it.
Subjected to it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who subjected you to this
My
out of
older
curiosity?
brother, who was staying with me at the time, subjected me to it against my will.
And why did he want to watch it? Because I didn't mind it, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. It had one bit of a curly part in there that was enjoyable, but the whole thing occurs in one room. It's very
Yes.
Tarantino in that respect.
Yeah, or teleplay or low budge.
Very low budget, very
Pick it.
poor
Pick
acting.
one, yeah.
Like one of probably some of the poorest acting I've ever seen.
I found the poor acting to be charming, and I quite enjoyed it.
And okay, poor acting. Obviously, you could actually do that movie for $150.
We need to explain the movie a bit, though. So,
but okay,
what
without
is
any
it?
spoil. So it's a bloke who he gets his mates together. He's having a bit of a going away party. He goes to a cabin in the woods, and he says to him, "There's about 6 of them there." He says, "Oh, look, I've never, having a great time." And they said, "Why are you leaving? Why are you leaving us? This is crazy. He's a professor or something."
They want to
Very
know
inquisitive. And for some reason, he says, "Look, I've never told anyone this, but I have been living for 14,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a cro-magnon," I think he said.
Yeah.
Is that an early form of human?
Yeah, it's a distinction between like the early forms of Homo sapien in Africa and the early exact same DNA. It's just European.
Okay. I've heard that term before.
The professors are all like of disciplines relevant to what he's talking about. There's an anthropologist, there's a biologist, there's a
psychiatrist, even
there's a psychiatrist, there's a doctor, all sorts of stuff. So there's a lot of people who should be able to just shoot him down when he starts talking smack about living for 14,000 years.
I love the concept. I like the idea of it. I kind of like where it goes. I don't think it fully executes. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. It's fun. It's fun. It's a fun thing to sort of grapple with, but I think it could be done a lot better. Like if they did a remake.
Well, when do you think that was shot? Get curious to know when you actually think it was shot.
I'm not good with this, but I'll have to answer the question one way or another.
Just have a stab.
96.
What if I told you it was 2007?
Okay.
Would that surprise you a bit?
You know what? I should have known that because when I got it off Pirate Bay, it has the year in it. Now that you say it, I do remember it being in the title.
It's on.
How'd you watch it?
Well, it was on one of the streaming services.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Brody sorted it out. It's all good.
Yeah.
Oh. So it's 2007 that was made.
Now,
I found the movie to be very similar to you. I found it boring yet fascinating. And the single scene thing is something that sort of sneaks up on you. The whole fact that it's set in this log cabin does sneak up on you because
my girlfriend called it about 15 minutes in. She goes, "I reckon this could be a movie where that's all in the one thing."
Wow.
And she fell asleep about halfway through. She missed the curly part.
It snuck up on me because I got 35 minutes in and they were still in the cabin.
Yeah, you thought they were going to transition somewhere else.
Yeah. And no, it wasn't.
It's interesting because he doesn't remember. They ask him a lot of questions about where did you grow up, who's your father, where have you been, things like that. And it's hard because we have a lot of information right now where we have world maps where we're looking at this from a high information we're inundated with all the information we could want with the internet and things. Could you imagine just figuring out, because he can only know as much as anyone else knows, and having said that, you can't connect to the knowledge. So what I'm saying with the internet, one person figures something out in China. That can get sort of reported on and published and whatnot and figured out by someone else in the US. And you can sort of all follow things quite quickly. Like someone can tweet something, we've figured out we've split the atom, this is how you do it or whatever. And then like everyone knows
split
it.
the atom at home.
Split the atom at home. Yeah. Home kit.
Yeah.
Home split the atom kit. And everyone's doing it.
Whereas
if he's cruising around in, Sweden in 8000 BC, what he doesn't know what the hell is going on. He might have a chat with people. He might have a lot of context, being like, "Man, I've seen some shit, but I don't even know where I was." Like I was in some marshlands for a while. And how did he? Because he's not immortal, in the sense that he is. What's the word for? He could die.
Yeah,
he just lives forever.
It just doesn't age. I think
doesn't age. Yeah.
Is what his thing is. And let's go into spoiler territory while we're here.
Can we?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, here come the spoilers. He sort of talks about how he does this every 10 years. He moves house every 10 years because people start figuring out that he's not aging. That's his claim.
And he figures out the easiest way to deal with it is just to move on.
Bounce every 10 years.
Meet new friends, yeah.
Make new friends, all that sort of stuff. And I think he's sort of just been the professor of just shitloads of schools at this point, right? He's just been walking around university campuses for hundreds of years.
And of course you're going to be a professor because you're so interested in, you've got a lot of context for first-hand experience. You would be so interested in all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And what do you do when you've been around for 14,000 years? Like, you could be very good. You could be a good athlete, but athletics is only like a more recent thing. Right? I know we had the Olympics a while ago.
Yeah, but he could just do that because he's got time. So he could spend 10, 20 years doing that as his focus.
Imagine a few thousand years of cardio.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But there's probably still he's peak physical condition, we'll call it.
He looks like a cro-magnon.
Yeah.
I don't even know what one looked like, but he does.
I think they would have done their
features.
Research.
Yeah, he's got some deep set features.
Yeah, he alludes to. He sort of says, "Look, I've got you all in this room: an anthropologist, a biologist, a psychologist, a devout Christian, all that stuff. Right? Got all these people here." And he says, "So I've got the best people around me who can like refute this, and you're not, but it's a joke. But I had you all, kind of thing. I had you all, right?
Because they were getting very upset. They were getting very upset.
Because he started saying he was Jesus, because he was the inspiration for the Jesus character in the Bible.
And he didn't just start saying he was Jesus. They really had to tease it out of him. They said, "Oh, yeah, you've seen some things. Oh, were you anyone in history?" And he said, "Oh, don't really want to talk about it." They said, "Were you?" Sort of like, kind of like 20 questions. "Oh, were you a religious figure?" And he's like, "Oh, no, really." And then they're like, "Oh, were you one of the disciples?" Shit like that.
And he sort of, And then they sort of go, "What was the Sermon on the Mount?" And he said, "Oh, do you want the whole version or do you want the true story, or which one do you want?" kind of thing.
Because he says he started going east way back when, seeking a bit of enlightenment. And he studied with Buddha.
With Buddha.
Yeah. And then he tried to take these Eastern teachings about, being a cool dude back to the West.
Yep, let's go.
And they couldn't handle it.
They didn't handle it.
Well, his name's John, and he had this kind of, whole heap of bullshit about how John got twisted and turned and through all different interpretations, and different people ended up with Jesus. Which is, obviously they'd do something like that. And he says that his the teachings and things like that he did were kind of warped, and that he was keeping it a bit simpler.
Yeah, he also said that he's not the Son of God, never walked on water, never did a miracle kind of thing, just knew stuff and was
Which is great. I love that. I love that.
Essentially a teacher, which is his professorship. You know, he's still teaching. You know what I mean? It was just, yeah. He was just a teacher the whole time. So that's sort of the idea. And they sort of leave it up to the audience, right? To an extent, when they say, look, believe him or don't believe him, don't give a shit. But then the doctor, who's a really old man, hears him talk about the previous aliases he's had, and he starts rattling them off like John Oldie Man, you know, blah blah.
Yeah, John Oldman, that's right.
His name is John Oldman, but he probably had different pseudonyms and stuff. So he names a guy, and the old man says, "You did not teach chemistry at this university or whatever." And he goes, "Dude, just calm down, all right? I'm your dad. Just fucking chill out, all right? Just fucking calm down, all right? It's cool. Your dad's immortal, all right? Don't worry about it." The dude freaks out, has a heart attack, and dies.
Wait. Was he saying he was his dad?
Yes.
I thought I didn't even appreciate that. I thought he was saying that he taught his mum or something, and that when he was a kid, he knew him with a beard or something. Because wouldn't he be worried when he meets this guy, this old man, that he realizes that he's his dad?
He didn't know.
What do you mean he didn't know?
He didn't know. He was talking with his lady out the front of the cabin, probably having a smoko.
Yeah.
And the old man's walking out, and he's one of the guys who's like, "You got to stop doing this. This is bad. You know, you're making these people really uncomfortable. This lady's questioning everything she's ever been, you know, thought in her whole life. You know, this sort of stuff." He's one of those guys. He's that guy in the room. And according to the trailer / cover, I fell asleep during the movie. He pulls a gun at one point. What happened then?
Yeah.
What happened then?
He sort of, I don't know, kind of just threatened him a little bit. Look, I didn't even know he was that guy's dad. So don't ask me what he was doing.
He starts saying stuff like, "What was our dog's name?" And he goes like, "Fucking
that's
Woofy," or some shit. And he's like, "Yes, it was Woofy." I mean, good guess. Could have been a good guess. And then he goes, "What was my mum's name?" or some shit. And he names his mum. And then he goes, "You taught chemistry," and then he has a heart attack and dies. And so he gets to see his son die, which is brutal. And then I think his lady friend asks him, "Is that the first time you've seen one of your sons die?" And he said, "Yeah." Or "One of your children die?" He said, "Yes."
Oh, did you say that, man?
So they left it up to the audience to an extent, and then in the last 2 seconds they go, "No, it's legit. Like he's an immortal."
I believed it. I believed it the whole time.
Yeah.
I was always a believer. I was upset that all his mates couldn't get their head around it. Now, if you told me you were Jesus and you were rattling off, I wouldn't say I would, you know, swallow the whole story. But I would be open-minded to it and be asking questions. I wouldn't hate you for it. I wouldn't be upset.
Well, I'm glad you've said that, because there is something I've got to tell you, and that is I am Jesus.
Wow, you look a bit Jesus-y.
Yeah, no, that's not good enough. That's never going to pass the test. The good news is that you did your homework. Congratulations. That's so good, man. And the good news for you, dear listener, is if you haven't listened through all the spoilers, pretty sure that movie's on YouTube, so you can look it up. And
is it?
Yeah, and you probably could have done that as well. And here's the bad news. I got some bad news. There's always good news, bad news, right? I was subjected to another movie by the same person.
Is this more homework?
By the same person.
What, same director or?
No, I was subjected to a movie from my brother.
Oh no, he's on fire. What's wrong with him?
Yeah.
Wow, what's he done now?
I think you should watch this one as well.
Really, what's it called?
It's number 2.
What? There's a second one?
It's The Man from Earth Part 2.
You're kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. It's on YouTube, so check it out. And
I had to really grit my teeth to get through that one.
I know, and this is the story. Okay, I was subjected to the film. My brother was fully aware that I was both bored and fascinated at the same time. He knew that. I fell asleep. I woke up, went and did my thing. The next night, he said, "We're watching a movie." I said, "Great, another fucking shit movie." right?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, we're watching the second one.
Oh.
And I said, oh, no, man, I'm not doing that. And he goes, here's what you need to know from the last one. Because I fell asleep towards the end of the first one. So I didn't know the ending, right?
Yeah.
But I knew pretty much everything else. I believed him, like you. I sort of believed him.
Yeah.
And I knew about the Jesus stuff. But I fell asleep. And he goes, here's all you need to know. He has packed up. He has left. He's left town. He's bounced. He's not sticking around. And everyone's questioning their sanity. And old mate, who was the doctor, was his dad. It was his son. And he died because he revealed it to him. And he goes, anyway, we're watching this one now. And we watched it. And look, I think you should watch it.
Yeah, I should. You recommending it?
Yeah.
You'll give
I'm
me
recommending it.
Okay, all right. Okay, I can't guarantee I'll watch it for next week, but that's all right.
Here's an interesting little point. At one point, they bring up Star Trek towards the end. Oh man, this sounds like a Star Trek episode of some shit.
Yeah,
it was. There's an episode
really?
that's written, an episode of Star Trek that's written by the guy who wrote this movie. He also wrote this Star Trek episode in which a very similar sort of.
So he's just rolling out the same story.
No, it's obviously like it's an evolution of an idea that he came up with already. So pretty cool.
He's just got one idea and he just keeps.
Like you, I love the concept, right? I just love the concept. I love the concept of a man walking around for that long. What's he seen? What's he done?
Hey, it wasn't too bad. I actually had a bit of a man from Earth moment this week, actually.
Oh.
It was a woman from Earth, and she was claiming to be a Jehovah's Witness.